What is up? What is going on? Biblically Constructed fam. Hope you guys are blessed. Listen, guys, I know it's possible to get excited and to get over emotional when we're quoting scripture in front of a congregation or a group of people, which might make us misuse the scripture or interpret it wrong. I understand that none of us are perfect. This is why I did a video on over emotional Christianity. Not emotional, because God gave us emotions. So emotions are fine. It's when we allow our emotions to dictate our theology or have us eisegete the text or use the text in error. Well, I recently heard this particular scripture taken out of context. It was presented in a way that whatever you believe, you can receive because all things are possible. Well, what do you guys think about that for a moment? Because I know you heard it presented this way before. Well, I'm going to tell you that this gentleman who said that I heard a few days ago, he didn't quite use it correctly. He may have received the hand claps and the amens from the congregation, but that doesn't mean it was used correctly. So let's go to Mark 9, where this comes from. Mark 9:23. Jesus said to him, "If you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes." So if you read it like that, well, then this gentleman said it correctly. The problem is the context is left out. And context is important. People just grab that portion of scripture, they run with it. If you can believe, you can accomplish all things. I can do whatever I want. Anything I wish for is going to happen. Anything I pray for is going to happen. And all I have to do is just believe. Well, let me ask you this, because we can sometimes simplify things by looking at the proof in the pudding. Has that happened to you? Has everything you asked for, everything you wanted, has it all come to pass? I'm very confident that the answer is no. Now, you may say, well, I didn't believe enough. This thought process or this interpretation is going to create a major problem, and I'll cover that in a moment. So, for the context of Mark 9, a father's looking for help for his son from Jesus' disciples because his son had a demon. Jesus comes on the scene, and the father says that the disciples could not cast out the demon. Jesus replies, "You unbelieving generation, how long shall I stay with you?" The father then asks Jesus to take pity and cast out the demon. Jesus then says, "If you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes." So the emphasis is not on the faith for what, it is in the faith of who. Let's go to Mark 9:21 through 23. Jesus asked the boy's father, "How long has he been like this?" "From childhood," he answered. "It has often thrown him into the fire or water to kill him. But if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us." "If you can," Jesus said. It wasn't about how strong the father's overall faith is, it's where his faith was focused. He questioned Jesus' ability to cast out the demon. I'm going to tell you why this is so important for us. Remember, he said, "If you can," and Jesus' response was, "If you can." It's never a question of can when it comes to Christ. We know he can. It's a matter of if he wills. You don't think that it's God's will to answer all our prayers or our requests? No, I don't. I think sometimes our prayers are selfish, self-centered, all about the greater good for us. I think sometimes our prayers are materialistic. So no, I don't think God's will is to answer all our requests. Now, this thought that this scripture means you can do all things, just believe hard enough. If we misunderstand this statement, all things are possible to him who believes, that Jesus made, we put people and ourselves in a place of disappointment, and this is the problem. People begin to think that things are happening because I'm not believing enough. I'm not fasting enough. I'm not praying enough. Maybe God doesn't love me like he loves everyone else because it's not happening for me. People begin to doubt God and question his ability like this father did, rather than trust in his sovereignty. Our faith is not necessarily in what God can do for us. Our faith should be in the sovereignty of God and who he is. the 3 Hebrew boys said, our God will deliver us. Well, how did they come to that conclusion? Because they understood he is a deliverer. That is who he is. In the obstacle they were facing, they understood the who more than the what, being the circumstance. This is what gave them their confidence. The father of the boy lacked confidence in the who. That is why he made the statement he made. He had faith, but it wasn't placed in the who. How do we know? Well, Mark 9:24. Immediately the boy father exclaimed, I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief. Remember in the verses before, he questioned the who with if you can. Now let's go to John 11, verse 21. The story of Lazarus. Lord, Martha said to Jesus, if you had been here, my brother would have not died. But I know that even now God will give you whatever you ask. Martha's confidence, her faith was in the who. So no matter what the situation we are facing, we know he has our best interests in mind. Even in the most undesirable situations, we can find comfort in them when we focus on God's sovereign nature, when we focus on the whom that we serve. So then scriptures like this will give us comfort. Romans 8:28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. So no matter what, all things have the possibility of happening when we put our trust in Jesus. There are other factors that go along with it, like his will for your life, and the things you're believing for. Are they lining up with his will? The things that you're praying for, are they lining up? You may want to win the Powerball. You fasted and prayed to win the Powerball. Well, it may not be in God's will for your life. Jesus' words are not a promise that we can do whatever we want. Rather, the believing one has the power only due to the whom he believes in, and that is Jesus Christ. Remember, guys, context is everything. So as always, be bold, be blessed, but most importantly, be biblically constructed.